What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this, your child's brain is building over 1 million neural connections every single second? It's the most complex construction project in the known universe, and you're the head contractor. No pressure, right? But let's be real. Most of the time, the construction site feels more like a circus. You're there trying to be the perfect parent, holding up a flashcard and saying, "Okay, buddy, say A for apple." No. Look at the card. Aptly, we've practiced this for 40 minutes. Meanwhile, your kid is staring at a dust bunny on the floor like it's the most fascinating thing ever discovered, leaning in. Here's the cold, hard truth that might hurt a little. We've been focusing on the wrong things. In our rush to raise gifted kids, we're actually accidentally getting in the way of how their brains actually want to grow. And don't worry, this isn't one of those shamey parenting videos where I tell you that you're failing because you gave them a chicken nugget once. This is about the neuroscience of parenting. It's the playbook nobody gave you at the hospital. Today, we're diving into the 5 brain-based rules that actually matter. We're moving past the parenting myths and looking at the brain truths. If you want a kid who is resilient, focused, and, dare I say it, actually listens to you, stick around. The Harvard in the living room trap. In the US, we have this cultural obsession with the Head Start. We've turned childhood into a competitive sport. We've got baby flashcards, toddler coding apps, and preschool prep courses for 2-year-olds. Some parents are basically running a mini Harvard admissions program right in their living rooms. But there's a psychological concept called the Pygmalion effect. It suggests that our high expectations can actually shape a child's performance. But when we apply it to academics too early, we create what psychologists call performance anxiety before the kid can even tie their shoes. We're so worried they won't get into a good college in 18 years that we're stressing them out about their coloring skills today. Science says, stop. You aren't just raising a child, you are scaffolding a brain. Think of it like building a skyscraper. If you spend all your money on the fancy gold faucets and the rooftop pool before you've poured the concrete foundation, the whole thing is going to lean like the Tower of Pisa the second a light breeze hits it. The early years, specifically birth to age 5, are the foundation years. If we get the foundation right, the interior design, like math, reading, and SAT scores, becomes easy later on. If we mess up the foundation, no amount of tutoring is going to fix the cracks. Part 1. The curtain before walls. Error. Let's talk about the biggest mistake in modern American parenting: teaching too early. You see it on Instagram all the time. That one mom posting, "So proud, my 3-year-old is reading full books." And you're sitting there looking at your kid, who is currently trying to eat a crayon, thinking, "Is my kid broken?" Relax. Your kid isn't broken. They're normal. Here is the psychological reality. The human brain develops from the bottom up. 1. The brainstem, survival, breathing, heart rate. 2. The limbic system, emotions, the big feelings of zone. 3. The prefrontal cortex, logic, math, reading, the CEO of the brain. When you try to force a toddler to learn math worksheets, you're trying to activate the prefrontal cortex before the limbic system is even regulated. It's like trying to install high-speed Wi-Fi in a house that doesn't have electricity yet. It doesn't matter how fast the router is. Nothing is going to turn on. When we push early academics, we trigger cognitive overload. This is why kids who are pushed too hard often have more emotional meltdowns. They haven't built the emotional wiring to handle the intellectual pressure. If you want your child to be a genius at 20, let them be a little scientist at 3. The foundation isn't built with worksheets, it's built with sensory input. Part 2. Serve and return. The brain's secret sauce. If you take only one thing away from this video, let it be this. The most powerful tool for brain development isn't an app. It's a concept called serve and return. Think of it like a game of tennis between you and your child. The serve. Your child does something to get your attention. They point at a bird, they make a weird noise, they cry, or they just stare at you with those "I'm about to do something chaotic" eyes. That is a neural serve. The return, you respond. You look where they point. You mimic their sound. You say, "Yes, that's a big red bird." This simple back and forth is literally the electricity that wires the brain. Every time you return the ball, you are strengthening a neural pathway. Now, here's the modern parent version of this game. Child serves, "Look, mommy, a bug." Parent, staring at iPhone. "That's nice, honey. Just a sec. Let me finish this email." We've all been there. I'm not judging. But in psychology, this is called social buffering. When a child serves and there is no return, their brain starts to produce cortisol, the stress hormone. If it happens occasionally, no big deal. If it's the status quo, the brain starts to prune those connections because it thinks, well, I guess communicating isn't important. In the US, we are more connected than ever, but our kids are experiencing a return deficit. Put the phone down for 15 minutes of high-intensity tennis. It's better for their brain than any $500 Montessori toy set. Part 3. The invisible pizza theory. Let's talk about play. In our hustle culture, we tend to view play as recess, a break from real learning. Science says play is the real learning. When your child is stacking blocks and the tower falls, they are learning gravity, spatial awareness, and resilience. But as parents, we have a bad habit of educational interruption. Your kid is in the zone, totally focused on their blocks, and we swoop in like a vulture. "Okay, but what color is that block? Say blue. Come on, say blue." Congratulations. You just killed the flow state. In psychology, flow is the state of deep absorption. It's where the best learning happens. When you interrupt play to turn it into a quiz, you're teaching your child that their curiosity isn't as important as your right answer. The rule: be a play partner, not a lead teacher. If your child hands you a plastic block and says it's a slice of pepperoni pizza, you eat that invisible pizza like it's the best thing you've ever tasted. By joining their world instead of forcing them into yours, you're building their executive function. You're teaching them how to create rules, follow a narrative, and solve problems. Plus, invisible pizza has 0 calories. It's a win-win. Part 4. The screen time trap. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. Screens. Look, I get it. You're tired. You've had a long day. An iPad is basically a digital nanny that never asks for a raise. But here's the brain science reality check for the US audience. We are seeing a massive spike in what's being called virtual autism symptoms. Kids who struggle with eye contact and social cues because they've spent more time interacting with pixels than people. Screens provide passive stimulation. The brain is receiving, but it isn't doing. There's a psychological concept called choice architecture. Your home is an environment that nudges your child towards certain behaviors. If the iPad is on the coffee table, their brain will choose the easy dopamine every time. It's like putting a bowl of kale and a bowl of Skittles in front of them. Their brain isn't wired to choose the kale. Limit the screens, especially before age 3. Why? Because the pace of a cartoon is 10 times faster than real life. When they go back to the real world, everything feels boring, leading to, you guessed it, more tantrums. Part 5. The grocery store meltdown. Speaking of tantrums, you're at Target. You said no to the $20 dinosaur toy. Your child has now transformed into a screaming puddle on the floor. People are staring. You feel the heat rising in your neck. What do? Most parents try logic. "Jackson, we have 3 dinosaurs at home. This one is overpriced. We are leaving now." Newsflash: Jackson's logic center, the prefrontal cortex, has left the building. He is currently being governed by his amygdala. This is an amygdala hijack. He is literally in fight or flight mode because he can't have the plastic T-Rex. In this moment, He doesn't need a lecture. He needs co-regulation. Your child's brain is like a Wi-Fi router looking for a signal. If you get angry, you're sending a chaos signal. Now you have two people in a meltdown. The rule: your calm becomes their calm. Get down on their level. Don't say much. Just be there. Once the storm passes, and it will pass, then you can talk about why we don't scream and target. You cannot teach a child to swim while they are currently drowning. You have to get them to the shore first. The long game. Raising a human is the longest long game you will ever play. We live in a world of instant gratification, but brain development is slow. It's messy. It involves a lot of spilled milk and repeated conversations. But remember, praise the effort, not the result. Instead of "you're so smart," say, "I love how hard you worked on that." This builds a growth mindset. Keep the environment simple. Fewer toys equals more imagination. Prioritize connection over correction. You're not just raising a child. You're wiring a brain that will one day navigate the world on its own. The small serve and returns you do today, those are the bricks of their future. If you're still here, it means you're already doing a great job. Why? Because you care enough to learn. If this video helped you feel a little less stressed and a little more prepared, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of brain-first parents. Drop a comment below with the words "brain first" so I know you're committed to the foundation, not just the curtains. We are ProGuide USA. Keep building those brains. I'll see you in the next one.